day 17.
Yeah. And you have a lovely sweater. We haven't seen that one before. And it looks great.
I haven't been wearing a lot of sweaters because it's been warm, but yeah, this is the Zola jacket. It's got a mosaic collar and cuff.
Oh, I like those shorter sleeves. I feel like I would like that. Yeah.
Mosaic around the hem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good for today, which will be a warm day, but just nice in between jacket to put on before it warms up.
Or if you happen to be wearing something that's sleeveless and you work where it's air conditioned, that would be nice.
Yeah. So it is DK weight, so it is a heavier jacket, but it's nice. I like wearing it.
Lovely. Yeah. So did you get more done on your sweater?
Yeah, I did a bit. It's in this sort of endless round and round stage still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've probably added a couple of inches onto that.
All right.
So it's good. Getting there, nearly getting to the lace bit, which I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gonna have lace on the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think you told us that before.
No, I didn't. I haven't really told about it. So the plan is I'm actually making a pullover version of my Ochre Cardigan, which is a lightweight chevron lace on the cuffs and on the hem. And, I just thought, a pullover version of that would be really nice for summer.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
And we'll go with everything.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So,
although I'm tempted to make another one in another colour already.
Oh, yes. So I'm still working on all the squares, but my daughter and I excavated my desk. It's fantastic.
Whoa.
Well, now Peanut can walk across my desk and there's plenty of open space and actual wood surface. So we took all the whips and my daughter's like, you have to get this under control.
Intervention. Excellent.
It was. And then we have a pile of things that need to be shredded. And then we have a big box of things that went to the trash. And then I have a bunch of stuff over here we need to deal with. But we gathered up all the whips. Some of them I had totally forgotten about. And if you include the rad vent throw, which you have to because I'm working on that currently, I have 12. Yeah, I have 12.
So have you made any decisions?
No. That was just this morning. It was exhausting, just that much. So yeah.
No
so
immediate.
Tomorrow,
no, I can throw that aside. Nope.
Not right now. I'm just knitting squares, and I will have to decide shortly because I wanted to mention too that we had patron knit night last night, and we decided for sure that we will be doing the Frog It or Finish It challenge beginning in the new year. So we might just take a little breath between, daily podcasts, but we will start right after the first. I don't know what day yet. I'll have to look at the calendar, but.
So you'll go through your whips then, will you, and decide?
Yeah, yes. And decide in what order they should be. But the problem is some of them are rather large. You know how you were saying yesterday that you're not sure you'd want to spend 12 hours then move along because you get into the groove, and I've been thinking more about that. You do get in the groove. And then when you circle back around, especially if you have a lot of whips like I do, you might kind of forget where you are and you lost your mojo a little bit with, I don't know. I'm going to have to decide if I can be monogamous during the challenge.
Maybe you need to lock up your stash, give your daughter the key, and she's only allowed to let you get back in there once you produce a FO from the whip pile.
Right.
You don't look very happy about that.
I know. My other daughter said you're not allowed to cast on anything else until you finish 2 things.
Okay, give her the key.
The oldest one, yeah. Well, they're both very sensible.
Yes, and she would like her throw finished, I'm sure.
She would, since it's for her. But see, yes, she would. But there's also a pair of socks on the needles for the other daughter, so they both would have incentive to keep me out of the stash.
Well, that's good. Finish 1 each for them.
Yeah.
That's a good motivation. And then 1 for you. What would you finish for you?
Yeah. I have a hat that's a Fair Isle hat that's not done. You haven't cast on anything else this week?
No, I've got my 2 whips on the needles.
Are you normally 2 and that's it?
Pretty much, often just 1.
I need to be more like you.
I mean, I'd love to cast on more things, and what I tend to do is plan so that I'm ready. When I finish that, I have the next thing ready to go, and by that I'll have piles of yarn sort of laying about that I keep rearranging and deciding. And that said, it's still pretty spontaneous. I'll finish something and think, oh yes, I'm going to do that, and then get distracted by something else and do something else. I think, oh, I'll just quickly do that, thinking it'll take, a few days or a week, and then 2-3 weeks later I'm like, oh no, that wasn't quick. But then I'm determined, I'm invested in finishing it. The only time that changes are the times where I'm having a collaboration with a dyer and they've maybe sent me some yarn, and then I really feel committed to finishing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you may have to prioritize your workflow when other people are involved, certainly.
Yeah. And usually that's sort of talked about well in advance. So
sure,
I do plan it. And and sometimes I can get muddled, if I'm waiting on yarn to arrive and it's taking a while to arrive in the post, or it can change. But pretty much 1 or 2 projects at a time.
That's awesome. That's pretty amazing. I need to evolve to that.
And maybe it's why I finish so many, because I'm not a really fast knitter. We've talked about that before, but because I'm consistently working on a project. Right.
I need to try that. Yeah.
Well, you're doing that with the throw at the moment.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I need to go count them up. Oh, it was pretty exciting. I opened them in a kind of a random order, and then I was just putting the finished squares in a stack. Well, yesterday I went through and kind of put them in order. And so it's been kind of neat because you can see the flow start to develop. And then now I'll be able to fill in the gaps with the remaining, whatever, 8 or 10 we have left. Today's day 17. So that's
inspiring too, isn't it? Thinking, oh, I could put that color in there now, and I want to finish it. Yeah,
that's pretty neat. And
so
then
I need the stack. Can we see it? Have you got it there?
Oh, you want me to go get it? Sure.
Yeah.
So here's the stack so far.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I've left all the tags on because I just want to know in what order they're in, but that's lovely. And then I have this one to poke in there. That's number 8. That's dry. It's dry now. I just need to take it off. And then this is the one I just finished from yesterday. That's 25.
Okay. So how many have you done now?
13.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. They look so nice. I love
They're
those
lovely.
Colors.
I know. Yeah. They're very nice. And I've been keeping this on a shelf out of the way because, this would make a great kitty butt mat. I mean, they would love that. They would love to just sit right there and, So, I had that in the other room and up on a shelf where they can't see it.
The cat-free zone.
Yeah, for sure. This one was on the dining room table drying and somebody sat on it. Despite there being pins. Yes, they just stepped over the pins and sat right in the middle.
What will you add next?
I don't know. Okay, this one, day 17.
I think that's puppy.
I think so.
Is it Nova?
It could be. It could be. It could be that.
I haven't met Nova though.
I know it could be the goat named Nova, who's also black.
Really?
Yeah, could be either way. Ooh, okay. This is dark as well.
Oh.
Because it's near 20. This is number 23 in the scheme of things, so it will go. Yeah, it's right next to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be really nice. And the name of this is On the Ridge. So
nice.
Yeah. A little bit lighter than the shale. Yeah, nice. I'm excited to fill in all the gradient gaps.
Yep. That'll be fun.
Cool. So
all right, well,
what do you have? Yeah, what do you have next?
Day 17. Woo! Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was surprising.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've got one other quite variegated skein, which is over here, day 5. So we're now on the third row of colour names. The Party Sapphire.
Oh, interesting.
And I think what will be so interesting is knitting these colours with this. This is the fluffy stuff that Terina sent. I mean, it could be knit without. She's knitting hers without, and they look beautiful in the wrap, the way that they're unfolding. It's pretty exciting. So I look forward to seeing her knit this in today's section.
You'll have to decide if you're going to add the fluff or not.
Yeah.
Or because didn't you mention that you might keep the fluff for a whole separate thing because there was enough of it to make its own thing?
Yeah. Maybe. Decisions. So you've got a special video to share with us today, haven't you?
I do. So Lindsay, my podcast partner, you guys, if you follow the channel for very long, you've seen Jill and Lindsay, my podcast partners. And when I first met Lindsay, when she first started podcasting on the channel, she told me about her grandmother who knitted Christmas stockings for their family members. And so she's going to tell the story of Grandma Tina and their Christmas tradition around that. So there you go.
I can't wait to see it. I've heard a little bit and it sounds amazing. I love her name, Grandma Tina. It's like it's one word, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. So that's what we have today.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to watching that.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then. Hey, Lindsay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Festive.
Yes. It looks nice and festive.
Thank you. It's mid-December. Can you believe it already? We're cruising right in there.
Can't believe it.
So I'm really happy you agreed to talk to me today about a kind of a tradition that your family had, and it relates to the lovely stocking here.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So my great grandma knitted for years. I wish that I would have asked her at one point when she started knitting, but I have no idea. I just assume forever that she knitted her whole life. And one thing that she started when her kids were younger was she knitted stockings for them, a la the one that is behind you. And she knitted them for every member of the family. And it's a very large family.
Wow.
Like every once in a while I'll run into someone in town and they're like, oh, your so-and-so is my something. And I'm like, I had no idea that you could have possibly been related.
Second cousin once removed, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And she, even like family friends, like she would knit them a stocking, and then when the new baby was born, she would knit the new baby a stocking. And so families have like stockings upon stockings that she has knitted for them.
Wow. And it was her labor of love.
Yes.
I mean, it's her thing.
Yes. And a few years ago when she was getting older, I thought that it would be cool if I could learn to make them. And so she gave me some copies of her patterns, and I started doing Fair Isle knitting, having no idea what I was doing. Like the first couple ones I did are like very tight.
Is this actually in Tarja though?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them are Fair Isle.
Right. So, but you started doing that.
This one part of it is Fair Isle.
Yeah. So you started doing that kind of color work though, and figuring that out.
On one of my first few projects.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I've since gotten all of her patterns. And they, like some of them you can't even read. Like they're quite
well loved.
Well loved. So when we say well loved, like,
oh my gosh,
we're falling apart here.
Oh, they've been taped back together a couple
stains. We have some of them that like she kind of had to redraw because she used it so many times. Like this one, I'm afraid if I took it out of the packet that it might fall apart.
Yeah. Oh, you know, those are generations old. I mean,
yes. And all of her little notes, like cast on 56 instead of what it says to make it smaller. And this color means this.
Oh, and those are in her handwriting, right?
Yes, it's all in her handwriting. And
priceless.
She told me at one point that her favorite way to like tell which row she was on, I wish I could find one that had this little sticker on it. Her favorite way to tell which row she was on was, okay, you know, when you buy stamps and there's like the little pieces on the side.
Oh, the borders, the edges, the sticky edges. She used those?
Yes. And there are some of them where it's like, okay, here we go. Santa has one. So like,
that's the stamp edge.
That's the stamp edge. And she would take it off and put it on her next row. So like this one is kind of ripped, probably where the stamp edge.
Wow.
Yeah. And like,
so that's from the generation of wasting nothing. I mean, right? Because she would have pulled a stamp and had the rest of the book of stamps and been like, oh, I could use that sticker thingy edge. Right. Brilliant and straight. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's really neat. And like some of them have like, she also must have used like return address labels because there's some of those on here like that she must have used for a sticker.
Like peeled off the back of a magazine and restuck it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they are falling apart.
Wow.
So
are you going to have them laminated? You could laminate them.
I should take them and laminate them somewhere because in rare form, I have repurchased some of them because they're just like, you just can't tell what it is. Yeah. And so I want the pattern, but I just found it on the website and repurchased some of them. But
so now you've taken over this endeavor.
Yes. So she passed away 2 years ago, December 16th, 2018. And it was really cool because at her funeral, everyone brought their stockings and there was a tree, a Christmas tree, because it was Christmas time at the church, and everyone hung their stockings on the tree, or like we had like a little like dinner afterwards downstairs, and they were literally stockings lining the rooms. They started to count and figured that she's knit well over 500, probably closer to 1,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a legacy of love. That is so cool.
There have been 2 people that I have, I knitted one earlier this year for a baby who was born at the end of last year. Yeah. And I was just contacted by another family a few weeks ago who they have also a new baby that's been born this year. And Grandma Tina had knit them stockings and we're wondering about getting a matching one for the new baby. They sent a picture of what they have, and I'll take and make it into one for them. And then this one that I have here, she must have made this one. I don't know if we lost mine. I remember there was something funny that happened. Either we lost mine or I wanted another one when I didn't live at home. Like I wanted one for my apartment. But I didn't even realize that I had this one until like a few months ago. I found it. I don't remember ever using it. So I'm actually, since she made it, and I think that this will be really cool, I'm going to take my name out and put my daughter's name on it so that she can have a stocking that was still knit by Grandma Tina.
Grandma Tina. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And let me just clarify, right after you and I met, so this is, I don't know, a year and a half ago.
Well, she passed away 2 years ago. So probably.
Oh, it was right after. That's right. It was right after she passed away or right before she passed away that we met. But let me just clarify to the viewers, you made me this one. Yes. You made this one and you sent it to me right before that Christmas in December of 2018. And I was so touched by that. I was like, oh, you barely know me and you made me a Grandma Tina stocking. That's so awesome. I'm like an honorary Grandma Tina fan or
yes, everybody,
family, you know.
Everybody knows, everybody in this area at least knows a Grandma Tina stocking. So.
Oh, yeah. So I was so touched by that.
Yeah.
So there, yeah. So I put it here.
Yay.
Every year because it's just.
I remember seeing it there last Christmas in some of the videos.
Yep. It'll be there. That's so neat. So you started. How long does it take you roughly to make one?
Everybody
I mean, if that's the only thing that you're working on and you're like really concentrated on that.
Everybody asks me how long it takes me to knit something, and I literally never know the question. Never know the answer.
However long it takes.
I know. The next one that I do, I should run a timer every time I mean, the last one I did, I got it done in a week.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I should know the answer to that. I mean, it obviously depends on how complicated the pattern is, how many colors there are, you know, yada, yada. How many letters are in your name? I mean,
I know. And hopefully not more than 7. 7 is like, 7 is really almost too long. Like,
yeah.
I think my one that's at my parents' house, I think my name goes down the side.
And that would make sense. Yeah. A
I
little more complicated to do, but yeah.
I know which one it is. The one that I have at my parents' house is this one.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Well, and then I remember you telling me, I don't know, a few days ago that the one someone had used a nickname on the one you were making for the other, because the kid's name was too long.
Yeah.
And you can't really make it smaller just because that's the yarn and the gauge you're knitting to. Yeah. Going down the side would be a neat idea though.
Yeah, some of them there's enough room to go down the side. I'm like looking at, but a lot of them there's not really. Like, the pattern takes up a vast majority of.
Yeah, and then you don't have to re-engineer the pattern if you don't want to mess with all that.
Right, which she has done the work for me on some of them. She has little notes. If you want to make this one bigger, cast on this mini instead. And she's like drawing little figurines of what you're supposed to do.
That's priceless. So
yeah, it is.
Thanks so much for sharing that. That's so neat. And that's what part of what we wanted to share was different people's different family traditions, you know, either all around the country. And so I really appreciated you sharing that. Thanks, Lindsay.